Welcome back to Land to House. I'm Seth Johnson. I've kind of taken a little field trip today to see the Stony Ridge Farmer.
Road trip.
Thanks for having me, Josh.
Yeah, good to have you. Good to have you.
Left-handed shake?
Lefty shake, yep.
So when I left the house this morning, it was 18 degrees and about a ½ inch of snow. So I'm glad it's warmed up to 30.
Yeah, it's about 30.
Yeah.
It's still cold for us. You're a mountain North Carolina guy. We're in the foothills here, so but we're out here by the cows, man. Want to turn around here, check out the cows. Right now, 7 cows. We had 8 cows. Recently lost a cow. You can check that out over on our channel, Stoney Ridge Farmer. Today, we're here with Seth. We're gonna be talking water systems. We'll kind of give him an idea of what the farm is like here. We were on about a 200-acre farm, a first-generation farm me and my wife bought with the intention of starting a farm, getting out of the rat race and working our butts off until the day we die. So, and we share it on YouTube, which is awesome. That's how we met. So, come on, we're gonna have some fun.
So yeah, today we're gonna tour the farm, look at some animals, and then we're gonna check out the waterway he has here on the property and hopefully get to a ram pump. Nothing says play in the creek like 30-degree weather.
Yeah, hopefully the creek isn't frozen. So this is the water trough that we had a baby cow die in. We've cleaned it, we've sterilized it, and it's set out here. We sprayed it down with bleach inside, wiped it out really good, and we're gonna put it back in here. Now if you look out here, the ground is frozen right now, but when it's wet, this is a nasty mess, and this is what we want to avoid totally on our farm. This is not what we want. So what we're going to do in just a second is, we'll talk about this on my channel too, we're going to grab that tractor, we're going to throw a hay bale out right here in this what we call pucky area where the cow's hoof goes in. It's called pucky, so it's a puck that makes a bit of a mess. We're going to move our waterers down the hill a little bit. It's all about mobility. As we continue on the farm a little bit more and the springtime comes, we'll be moving these cows on a daily basis and mob grazing. So it's going to be pretty cool. We have no topsoil on this farm whatsoever. All of what you see behind you was forest 2 years ago. So unbelievable transition period here on the farm. I'm going to pick this big boy up and throw it over the fence. Hi.
Breakfast.
Yep, it's breakfast time. You'd think they're starving to death, but they're not starving to death. There's plenty of forage out here, but we are going to put a bale of hay right here in this mess.
Is this feed sweet?
Yeah, that's just sweet feed. That's just a little supplement. We're actually going to change over to a grass-based cow snack form. In other words, I'm training these cows right now to follow this bucket. If they ever get out, all I got to do is grab a bucket and say, "Woo cow!" Here they come. So that's the goal. So right now we're on an area, all this behind us, and you can see out there, all this was forest again. And I know there's a whole lot of talk about, oh, save the trees. You know, I love trees. Nobody cares more about their land than the farmer that owns the land. However, forest land does not build topsoil. We are totally devoid of topsoil here, and we can raise cows in the woods on silvo pasture. However, the success of raising nice beef cows on silvo pasture is a little bit, I guess, debated. So what we're looking at, and we're gonna be driving down the fence line here. We just put up our fence. This is tornado wire from Farm Fence Solutions, and you can see it's not very intrusive. In other words, you can't hardly see it if it's from a distance. Around the entire farm here, we have somewhere in the neighborhood of 80 acres or so that's fenced in, and we left a lane outside the fence in order to maintain our fence lines to keep trees and brambles and briars from growing up through the fence line and causing us a huge maintenance nightmare. Plus, we can check on everything around the farm just by driving the Kubota gently down the fence line. So it's pretty cool.
You mentioned silva. What's that?
Silva pasture, or silvo pasture, I think is what it's called. It is grazing animals in forest. So a lot of folks will raise pigs in forest, which is great. Pigs are an animal that are going to require some supplemental food. These cows by the time we get our system set up here with water systems from this guy and different ideas of water systems that I've read about, by the time we have that, we'll be intensively grazing these areas, building our topsoil back, and it's just not something that you can do on this scale. I say that. This may change. We don't know. We're in an educational process here on the farm, so it may be that we've got planted pines directly behind the camera. They're all about this tall. We cut 100 acres of timber, and it may be once those trees get, you know, 7 feet tall that we run the cows through there to control all the hardwoods and weeds and leaves and stuff that grow in there. So this is an ever-evolving soil building, farm building, holistic farm. That's what the whole goal here is, to have good quality meat, raise the animals right, treat the land right, and that's what we're doing. So we'll cruise down the fence line here so you guys can see, and we're gonna see a pitiful looking pond here in just a minute, and that's what we're gonna be checking to see how much our water flow is, how many gallons per minute. We'll take a 5-gallon bucket, we'll hold it underneath there for a minute, or we'll just put it underneath and see how long it takes it to fill it up and do the math to find out how much flow we have. So this is what we call our upper pond, or currently we call the pitiful pond. This is probably not even 1/3 of an acre, maybe 1/4 of an acre pond. And I got in here with a track hoe and I dug out, we put a pipe in, and I dug out, built a small dam just to see if this pond would retain water, if it would flood, if we would have any issues. I actually have a 36-inch pipe this big, and we probably get enough water flow for a 4-inch pipe. So ponds on the upper side of your farm control flooding on the lower side of your farm. We're building soil here on the farm so that we can think about water absorption. In other words, this ground right here will not absorb water. It would take it hours and hours. If you put 5 inches of water on this land, it would take it 2 hours to soak in, if it soaked in at all. Now out in the pasture, where we've been building pasture for about 3 years now, it'll take 5 inches of rain, somewhere in the neighborhood of a minute, maybe 30 seconds to soak in. Controlling flooding, keeping water on your land, that's what this is all about. And again, that's why I set this here, because we want to keep water on our land and we want a passive system. This pond is probably 15 feet down from over here where we're planning to run our water system. So temporarily here, through the summer, I've got a backhoe and a trencher coming out. Temporarily, we're gonna zip tie our water pipe to this fence, and we're gonna temporarily have hose connections about every 250 feet. So when we put our poly wire out, our electric wire out to mob graze our cows on 1 acre plots, we'll always have a place where we can hook to water, and we'll have a mobile water system, a passive mobile water system that needs to be low maintenance, because I'm 42, and when I'm 82, I want this to still be working, and I want to be able to come out and check on my babies and make a living when I'm 80. So this is our retirement. There are no bats living in this cave. As you can tell, this is overkill, huge overkill. My guess is 3 gallons a minute here. And I think I can get my 5-gallon bucket in there. So.
You want to give it a test run before we time?
Yeah, let's give her a test run, see if I can get it in here. It's still a little shallow.
So we've crawled down to the overflow of the pond here. We're going to be using a 5-gallon bucket to get a flow rate. And to do this, basically you divide 300 by the number of seconds it takes to fill this 5-gallon bucket, and that will be your gallons per minute.
Or you take a 5-gallon bucket and you start the timer, and if it fills up faster than a minute, then you know you got more than 5 gallons a minute, and we're cool. That's all we need to know. And I'm pretty sure we got about 7 or 8 gallons per minute. We also could judge it if we ran it and saw how fast it filled it up. We could divide that by 60, and that would tell us how many gallons. So 5 divided by 60, and then there's a math problem here. I can't figure it out. But
never do math on camera.
Never do math on camera. Hold on, I'm gonna figure this out while I'm bent over, butt up in the air here.
So today I brought a 3/4 inch ram pump, and it requires approximately 3 gallons a minute to operate. Now we do have to also consider that this is winter time and the flow rate is probably a little higher than it will be in summer. So we do want a little bit of excess water coming out of this pond right now. But okay, let me get my timer out.
Let me do something stupid, kick some mud in the way here. You'll get the you'll get a version of this over on my channel too. So we're gonna have some fun with this over on my channel. We're gonna do this twice today. It's gonna be rad.
All right, you let me know when you're ready, and
Okay, hang on.
I'll push the go button.
I'm thinking about my math problem here. So if it fills up 5 gallons in 30 seconds, that means we got 10 gallons per minute. If it fills up 5 gallons in 20 seconds, then that means we've got
more than
around 14. We got this is where really truly algebra is important, because you got parentheses and stuff in this kind of math.
I just like the 300 divided by the seconds method.
I was going for my master's degree. I'm an educated man with a bucket in my hand. All right, so go.
This is where the really exciting content is.
Yeah.
Next, we'll show you paint drying.
Speed this up. How many seconds are we at?
15.
15 seconds. We're at about 2.5 gallons now. My bet is 5 gallons in 34 seconds. And again, as Seth was saying, this is the wettest time of the year, so we're gonna have a little more flow here this time of year. In the hot part of the summer, we might have about half the flow. Ooh. You seem like the water slowed down.
Maybe a little bit.
All right, I'm gonna say we're at the 5 gallon mark right now.
50 seconds.
50 seconds, okay, cool. Oh.
So if you did some on-camera math, you would say 60 times 5 gallons, that's your 300. And then you would say divided by 50 seconds, which is 6 gallons a minute.
Sweet. All right.
So even if we have half here in the summertime, you should still be able to run the 3/4 inch. And if it comes down to it, we can drop down to the 1/2 inch pump, which needs just slightly over 1 gallon a minute.
Gotcha. So behind the scenes of what we're getting ready to ride up on here, and apologize about the noise of the Kubota. Again, this was forest land 3 years ago. We don't have a monoculture here. In other words, we don't have one specific crop. We don't have fescue grass and that's it. And a lot of folks go for that monoculture, but we want, Joel Salatin would call it salad bar beef. We want salad bar forage for our animals, and we want a broad diversity of life forms growing on our land. So be it 5 or 6 different seed types that are growing out here, which you'd call a weed is what we call feed. So we put the cows out and they'll eat anything if we group them together in a small enough area. Right here we have clover, we have timothy, we have fescue. None of this is really growing right now because it's winter time. So clover, timothy, fescue, tillage radish. Some of the tillage radishes will shoot tubers, a radish this deep down into the soil. Our soil is hard as a rock. It'll shoot them down in the soil and bust it open and cause microbes to come out after us. In other words, once the tubers mature, there is about this big around, they'll be about that long, they'll be pushed down in this soil, they'll start to rot, it's gonna stink, the farm's gonna stink. It's okay, Mrs. Stony Ridge, my wife, doesn't know how bad it's gonna stink yet, but that's bringing in the worms, the earthworms, the microbes, and all the stuff, the mycorrhizal fungi that we want in our soils to build more soils, and everything feeds off of everything. So cows feed off the grass, the forage, they put butt fertilizer out and urine, that feeds the land. Little baby birds come and eat the flies off the cows. This is going to be the most holistically managed farm in the country. That's the goal here. It's going to be super cool. We're going to go down to a pond we built this past season. We built both these ponds this past season, but this pond isn't pitiful like the other one. And we'll check the water flow on it. See, these little plants they're radishes.
Okay.
Growing up in here.
Did you use a planter for that?
Yep, a no-till drill. The goal is to not turn any land after we get our pastures established. No more tillage of the soil, no more touching of the soil. See how this is barren? You can see there are bare spots. You know, there's no forage out here. There's no cover crop out here. Out here, there's no bare spots. This is new, and this is going to take a few years, but we've got to get the ground covered, because wherever the ground's not covered is bad news. We're down here at our lower pond. Again, we're thinking water systems, passive water systems here on the farm. We built this pond. It's approximately 1/2 acre-ish, maybe a little smaller than 1/2 acre. And we paid about $2,500 for all the work to have it built. We put a pipe in, not a stand pipe. We have 3 ponds on the farm. We didn't put a stand pipe, we just put a pipe through the dam here, and it's totally designed. Come on over here, I'll show you. So this is totally designed. This is a 24-inch pipe right here, I believe. 24? No, 16-inch pipe. This is a 16-inch pipe designed to where when the water gets up halfway up the pipe, that it's not blasting a 16-inch gush of water out. I'm animated about this. I'm excited about this. So this will raise up to halfway up the pipe, and then water will flow gently over the other side of the pond here, so we're not getting, in a flood stage, we're not getting water flowing over our dam, eroding and tearing apart our dam, and taking a chance and wasting all the hard work and energy we put into our dam. When you build a pond dam, the most important thing to do immediately is get some forage, get some cover on there, get some root structure on there, because if it floods 2 days after you build your pond, your whole dam is going to go down the hill, and all the time and money and thought that went into it is going right down the hill. So immediately we bought a pump, and we pumped out of this a power horse pump or whatever, like a, what was it, almost 10,000 gallons a minute or hour pump. And we used a K-line irrigation system, a mobile irrigation system, irrigated that side, irrigated this side. Within 4 days, we had forage on here, and I could go wipe a sigh of relief that we're not gonna have a flood and our pond is not gonna wash down the hill. Now we're gonna go down to the pipe on the back side here, and we're gonna check the flow rate with Seth. All right, so we're gonna get down here. This is the pipe that goes under the road where the water comes out of the dam. And if I get wet, that's just part of it. I mean, it's no big deal, man. This is a piece of steel I found with the bush hog. I'm gonna get wet. Oh. All right, you ready?
Yep.
Go. That's 5 gallons.
10 seconds.
10 seconds.
Yep.
All right, let's do some math. Oh, Lordy.
30 gallons.
I've never seen that bee's nest thing hanging up there. See it?
I do. Yep.
And then where we're going here left is another place. On a farm, you need fill dirt. This is going to be our fill dirt here. So we'll cut and harvest these trees for firewood and for timber. And again, this is another low-lying bottom area that was covered with river birches. And we own, this side of the farm is about 50-some acres. And over on the other side, you can see through the woods, is another 25-acre parcel that we're going to try not using bulldozers to clear. We're going to clear a path around the outside of the field, and we're going to put livestock in there and let them eat, let the stumps rot, and then come in and slowly remove all that. So we're going to see if we can let our animals heal our land, not diesel fuel, you know, so it's a good thing. So in order to get water from here, which is a good water storage here, it runs almost this much year round. I think we'd be able to do a ram pump here to pump up to the pastures over here. And I don't know if you paid attention, there's no water up top.
Well, the farm tour was really exciting. I think we have finished that now. The property goes way across the road, over that hill, onto the next hill, and then all of the property that was behind us here, right at 200 acres total. I think we're going to wrap up this video and start installing our ram pump. So that will actually be a separate video than this one. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.